Thank you for joining us on Arizona's Family News today. We begin with breaking news right now. Parts of Sedona are under evacuation orders because of flooding along the Oak Canyon Creek.
Yeah, there are several neighborhoods under these evacuation orders, about a roughly 2-mile stretch along the river in South Sedona. Let's take a look at a map here. These are the affected areas. It starts in the north with some homes near the Rancho Sedona RV Park and stretches south to the Villas at Poco Diablo Resort. We've got the full list on our website, azfamily.com. Now, our Michael Raimondi has been out in this area all day long, watching the creek levels rise and rise. And Michael, you're out there live now, and boy, a lot has changed in the last hour or so.
Yeah, the rain's really been coming or going here around Sedona, but it's not just Sedona you got to focus on. All the places north and the mountains near here, if they're getting rain, it's coming down through this area. So let's show you what we are seeing here. We are right near Oak Creek Cliffs Drive. This is an area that residents here say is kind of like a nice area they can walk through that has some benches and tables, but as you can see, you can't see them. That is a trash bin that is just on top of what looks like another trash bin, so it doesn't float away, and if it keeps increasing here, the water level that will end up floating away. So this is part of an area that is being, or people I should say, are being asked to go around and evacuate. People kind of going door to door. There's hills up on the other side. It's too dark to show you the other side here, but there are big hills with houses on the other side as well. So as you can see, nighttime has fallen now and not much has changed. I mean, we've seen about the same amount of water, if not even more water, really just raging through Oak Creek, this part of Sedona. At this point, again, evacuations have been ordered for certain places. Some people we talked to have left, and cars are lined up on the street going back up out of this area, while other people say we're going to stick it out. So it really just depends on what you feel comfortable with. I mean, at this point, we're probably about 10 feet or so, maybe even a little bit more above where this water is right now. But of course, if this keeps rising, that could potentially be a problem. The assistant fire chief here in Sedona says that he expects this to stay steady, if not rise a little bit more before going back down through the morning hours. But he said that tomorrow it is still, in his words, going to be impressive in the sense of how strong this is, how deep the water is in areas. It's really not typically like I said, this is like a park area that people just come to and go sit down and enjoy lunch at these apartments here. So that's what we're seeing right now. Again, they can't force people to leave, physically bring you out of here, but they're asking people to be smart, be safe, and if you can leave, you should do that at this point, guys.
Yeah, so Camp Verde High School is the evacuation point that they are sending people to. And it sounds like right now the Wet Beaver Creek is also flooding along with the Oak Creek Canyon, and that's over 9 feet. They're projecting this thing could get up to 13 feet by 2:30 in the morning. Michael, my question to you is, how close are you to homes? It sounds like we're at a campground there. How close are you to actually homes being flooded?
So like I said, we are about, 10, maybe 12 feet above where this water level is. And this railing's right here. And if we spin around, you can see how close the apartments are. Some of these condos here. So, 10 feet away from the railing at least. But still, you'd have to see an impressive amount of water over the next several hours to really start making its way further up. If you can actually see over here, Adrian, at the bottom of kind of the ramp here, you can just see the water kind of ebbing and flowing there, almost like a ocean or something with the wave and the tides coming in and out. That's where it is right now. So I think we still have a long way to go at this point. I think at this point, talking to the fire officials, you just want to be cautious. You want to be able to get out before this crosses the road, maybe the only road for some people, to get out of an area. So if you're able to do that, obviously you want to do that ahead of time, because certain communities only have one way in or out. And if that is covered, that's a problem. So more of getting ahead of it, I would say, at this point.
All right, Michael Raimondi, live for us in Sedona. Thank you so much. Let's bring in Royal right now, who's tracking this storm. Obviously really scary for those people there. What can they expect overnight?
Well, like Michael was saying, the levels are going to rise, and during the early morning hours they're going to peak. And some of these areas haven't seen water this high in well over a year to 2 years. So it's very, very unusual. And tonight, the added dimension to this is we've got thunderstorms in the valley right now. So that's on our first alert weather day headline chart. Heavy rains are continuing up in the mountains, and we are still very concerned about the Verde, Oak Creek, also wet and dry Beaver Creek, and really any of the tributaries into the Verde River are going to be problematic and are under a flood warning at this hour in the Verde Valley in north central Arizona. Well, let's start the radar with what's happening around Metro Phoenix. Moderate thunderstorms at this point, but thunderstorms to be sure. We're picking up some moderate rain. The heaviest of the storms seem to be both to the north and to the south of Metro Phoenix, but we're going to get some decent rainfall around town as these storms move through. Up toward Wickenburg, a pretty impressive line of storms stretching from Wickenburg over to Black Canyon City. Those storms seem to be showing a little bit of frozen precipitation, so maybe some hail or some graupel falling out of those. And the storm that just moved through Gila Bend, that looks like that's a pretty potent storm too, lining up for Maricopa and could make a swipe at the Southeast Valley over the next couple of hours or so. But in terms of Metro Phoenix, it looks like most of us are going to get another batch of rain. Most of us got a batch of rain this morning. Tonight, though, it'll come with thunderstorms, and you might even see a little bit of small hail out there as well as these storms progress through. So coming up, more on the flood warnings in the areas impacted by the rising waters and more on our thunderstorms in just a couple of minutes.
All right, thank you, Royal. Maricopa County has closed off more low water crossings because of flooding today.
Yeah, so today's storm combined with some recent water releases from SRP means we could be seeing high level water for quite a few days at some of these crossings. Let's send it over to Stephen Sarabia live at Gilbert Road in Mesa, where a section is closed off there because of flooding. Stephen.
Yeah, good evening. The storm, the rain, it's beginning to pick up here in East Mesa, but just take a look at all these barricades. The county isn't messing around. They have dozens set up throughout Gilbert Road, all leading up to Thomas Road. As you can see, a car driving up here is going to have to find another way around, as just beyond those barricades, the Salt River level's high enough to overtake the road, which is why they put those barricades in place. They don't want anyone crossing. Now, at this point, the county has closed off 5 roads. Here's a list of them right now. We have the section of Gilbert Road where I'm at, which is just north of the 202, McKellips Road. We have 67th Avenue and 91st Avenue, all those sections of road that are along the Salt River, as well as El Mirage Road at the Gila River. Now, the county says that they are always ready to close roads, but added it's been a couple years since that they've had to close this many outside of monsoon season. And with this current storm, they're warning people to pay attention to the road. These barricades are in place for a reason.
People think they can get around a barricade and cross the road, and the water comes rushing in. You put your life in danger. You cross those barricades and get into water, you'll get washed away. You could lose your life.
If you live in a low water crossing area, pay attention to the detours and plan for extra travel time if you use those roads. Now, I have with me a tape measure. It doesn't take a whole lot of water for you to hydroplane. According to the National Weather Service, most vehicles, most cars only need about 6 inches. That's this much right here. That's enough to sort of make that water push your car off the road. So definitely keep that in mind. Pay attention to the barricades as well if you are doing some traveling. Now I'm going to go ahead and toss it over to Elliot, who's in the Storm Commander in the West Valley, at a look at conditions right now.
Yeah, Steven, so we are on I-10 right now, driving west. We're coming up on 43rd Avenue. I'm going to change the camera view to take a look at the conditions out ahead of us. Cars going pretty smoothly on the road in this part of the valley right now. We haven't really seen any issues, just a steady kind of light rain. But as we've heard throughout the newscast so far, rain expected to come from the west heading towards the east. So that's going to pick up for people in the valley and elsewhere across the state. And right now it's kind of hit or miss. I mean, it's been periods where there have been heavier rain, but for the most part, it has been pretty light so far on this I-10, but we're going to continue driving west and see if we can get into a little bit more of the heavier rain. When we do that, we'll be sure to keep you updated on the conditions. Obviously, if you still can avoid being on the roads, that is probably the preference right now, because even though the rain isn't heavy here, it is still something that could turn dangerous quickly. So if you can stay off those roads, that's what's recommended, but we'll keep you updated on conditions. For now, I'm going to send it back to you guys in the studio.
All right, thank you, Elliot, chasing those storms for us in the West Valley.
And of course, drive safely. Hey, if you want to be updated on this storm, make sure to download our free First Alert weather app. We will be sending out updates on all the evacuation orders and as well as some live radar updates, as well as areas that are being hit by this storm.
Coming up, teachers pushing back against